If you guys are ready, we shall move on to second sections on study hacks. There are a lot of study techniques and also methods available outside, especially if you go and visit the websites, online websites, and they have some like intermittent restings, some kind of different study techniques. But today I'm going to share with you some tips that might help you in terms of boosting your academic performance, which are knowing your priority, knowing your learning styles, understanding that practice makes perfect, appreciating that quality is more important than quantity, and also use of audio-visual stimuli in your notes. First tip is to know your priority. We can utilize the Eisenhower matrix to help us categorize and prioritize our tasks. There are 4 quadrants in the Eisenhower matrix, and the tasks in the first quadrants are urgent and also important tasks which we need to deal with immediately. For example, are those projects and also school assignments that are near the deadline, and last-minute preparations like last-minute meetings and also calls. Tasks in the second quadrant are important but not urgent tasks which we need to schedule and focus on it later. These are the tasks where it is not near the deadline, it might be due a few weeks later, and rest and relaxation activities like your exercising and also sleep. Tasks in quadrant 3 are not important but urgent tasks which we can deal with it by delegating to other people with better roles. For example, if you are rushing your own homework in the classroom and suddenly your friend come up to you asking you to help her solve a math question, you really have to rush the homework so that you can hand out by time, while you are also obligated to help your friend solve her math questions. In that case, it's a not important matter to you, but it is very urgent. And what you can do is ask her politely, of course, to refer to another friend who have already finished his or her homework or is better at math. That's how we delegate other tasks to people with better roles. Tasks in the fourth quadrant are not important and not urgent tasks which we must delete, stop, and avoid immediately. These are the tasks such as scrolling to social media, playing video games, and also unnecessary coffee breaks. With the utilization of Eisenhower matrix, we can better categorize and prioritize our tasks and identify those that need to be done now and those that need to be done later. Then you'll be more effective in completing your task. Now, the second tip is to know your learning styles. Some people are solitary learner while some are social learner. If you are a solitary learner, you might prefer to study alone, such as in the library or even in your own room, so that you can have your own personal space to gather your thoughts and focus on your work better. If you are a social learner, you might prefer to study in groups or with your friends, and you learn better through role plays and also demonstration. Through ways like teaching others and also teaching your content to a person you know, saying it out loud like you are presenting might help you to retain the knowledge better and also help you to learn better. Once you get the idea of the learning styles suitable for you, you can add it to some study techniques, and then you'll be able to gain utmost benefit out of each study session, as you can focus better on your work and you can achieve efficiency in your studies and boost your academic performance. Next is to understand that practice makes perfect. The underlying principle to practice makes perfect is repetition of skills and knowledge until you are familiar with the content you are going to deliver or you are going to be tested on. Be it practical or theory knowledge, practicing and repeating is very useful in helping us to retaining the knowledge. And through constant practice, we will be able to get better at the things we done because it frees up the working memory needed for us to perform the skills or retrieve the knowledge and allow our brain to have more space to enhance further learning so that we will be able to improve and get better at the things that we already know. This is a study technique that I adopt when I was preparing for my practical skill test. And if your future career emphasizes on hands-on skills, whether is it like dealing with machines or even just delivering a speech or communicating with your client, practicing certainly makes the complicated and a complex task seem more simpler because you are very familiar with the things that you are going to do, and you get better as you practice each time. It is also the same for theory knowledge as well, just like how your lecturers and also teachers are so familiar with the content that they are going to teach, very familiar with the topic that they are going to deliver, that they don't even need to refer to the textbook even. And that's the power of repetition, where it just helps you get better at the things you do, and you can just deliver it without even referring, because you already know what you are going to say and what you are going to teach to other people. And next, you must also appreciate that quality is more important than quantity in a piece of work. When I first started on my individual assignments in Polytechnic, I really don't understand why the lecturers need to have a word limit for a certain piece of work. For example, 1,000 words for content which is going to be very heavy and need to have a lot of explanation. And coming to think of it, maybe what the lecturer wants is this quality over quantity, where you need to provide very relevant and also condensed idea in a piece of work, and it just be able to produce a piece of high quality work. If you come to think of it, comparing a 5-page long essay with a very concrete and relevant points is definitely far more powerful than a 10-page long essay with irrelevant ideas that just make no sense. Of course, you yourself cannot tell how high the quality of your work is, but following these tips can help you to make doing your assignments or even writing your essays in secondary school less daunting and also more organized. First is to outline your thoughts for each paragraph. Include the main point and also the supporting details that you are going to write, and then do research and work through it step by step. If you are writing an essay during an exam, what you have to do in the second step is to brainstorm for more ideas. If you are in your tertiary studies and you have to do extensive search on the internet for your assignment, there are vast resources available online, and do keep in mind to avoid resources from Wikipedia, as the content inside Wikipedia is modifiable by any author. It doesn't matter you are a layman or a professor or it just doesn't matter where your credentials are, and you can easily modify the content inside the Wikipedia, thus making the content inside Wikipedia not the most reliable one. Once you step into more advanced educations like your foundation and also universities, you'll find that the strongest evidence that you can use for your assignment is information from official websites and also credible organizations like World Health Organizations and also journal articles. Before you submit your assignment, make sure you proofread and edit your work to eliminate any errors. Typos and sometimes grammatical errors does leave a very bad impression to the assessors, because it just shows that you did not edit your work and you are not reviewing it, you are not checking it, and you just don't care. And therefore, reading through your assignment and also checking it after finishing, it applies to the essay you write in exam as well. It's very important to make sure that there's no grammatical errors and your ideas are well organized. And I understand that it's very common to feel a lack of motivation to start on your assignment or even starting to practice on the essay, because you might not have any idea on your mind and you just don't know where to start. But to get things done is really to get started, and just as illustrated in this picture, when you feel overwhelmed or you don't know where to start, do not be afraid to take up the first step of maybe Googling your assignment or just referring to other essay examples so that you can retrieve some idea and work on the essay that you're going to write or the assignment that you're going to write. Focus on one thing at a time, and the ideas will flow in slowly as you work on each point and also each supporting details. Remember, just one thing at a time, it will help you to focus better. And sometimes you can also extract some ideas from your personal experience that you have encountered before, and that way you'll be able to help you to develop your ideas in your assignment or your essay. Now is on the last study hack, which is the use of audiovisual stimuli in your notes, like colors and also pictures. This is a screenshot of the notes that I prepared when I was studying medications, and I like to use the same color for my titles and another color for the subheadings. And I also insert pictures from online sources so that I can make my notes more interesting and I can have a clearer idea of the content that I'm studying. For example, if this one is guaifenesin, I might not know which medication is this, but inserting the picture, it can give me a clearer idea of what I'm studying. And with the use of audiovisual stimuli, you also feel less bored at looking at your notes rather than a whole chunk of text. Now is to move on to another section on applying theory into knowledge. As we step into the career journey after graduation, most of the tasks they emphasize on hands-on skills, and is very, very different from the learning styles back in secondary school where the content are mostly just spoon-fed by your teacher. Learning how to apply theory into practice is very important when you're trying to secure a job in the future, because these have to be gained through experience and learned through mistakes. Even if your job doesn't need to be deal with machines, peoples, and also things, it requires you to have the pre-existing skills of how to deliver your speech and also how to propose something to your prospective employer. And that's how we need to learn how to apply theory into practice. And let's find out some of it. When you are in your tertiary studies, one of the most valuable opportunities for you is definitely internships and also a clinical posting to let you have a platform for you to apply theory into practice. It is only when you engage yourself in the job sector and do the skills in a real setting, you'll be able to apply the knowledge that you learn through textbooks and also in schools and make the skills come alive. Through internships, you can also learn through observations and also explore your interests and also gain experience as you deal with machines, peoples, and maybe just communicating and delivering your ideas to your seniors and also your employers. For example, in nursing, you know nurses need to help patients to change diapers, right? Maybe just looking at the notes on teaching me how to change diapers might not be as effective as I really go and use my hand and really change diapers for the patient. And when I first asked to change diaper for a patient, I was so perplexed and I didn't know what to do because I'm going to see poop for the first time. And as I do it more frequently, I get used to it and I'm more familiar with it, and it became so simple that I immediately know what to do, what are the things that I should get, what are the things that I should take note of, and how am I going to tell the patient, how am I going to engage them. It's really to just get your hands on it and get the skills done, and you'll be more familiar with it. And these kind of opportunities only come when you go through internships and also clinical posting. And realizing how important intern opportunity is, we must be proactive if we are seeking for learning opportunities with educational institution, maybe with your schools or stakeholders. For example, any companies out there to look for internship opportunities so that you can really get a real taste of what is it like working in that sector. For example, student nurses can engage a local hospital for internship opportunities, while engineering students can approach an engineering company, or if you are a food science students, you can go for a food science company as well. As you go into the different paths, you'll be able to gain experience from there, and you'll also be able to explore your interests as well. What I meant by exploring interest is this: if you are going to work in a healthcare sector, there might be many departments, and if I go through internships and I have the experience in different departments, for example, medical surgical, obstetrics and gynecology, emergency department, I'll be able to get a taste of what each department is like, and I'll be able to explore my interests. And you also know which population you are happy to work with. For example, some people like kids a lot and they will go into pediatrics, while some people like old people and they'll go into gerontology. Or if you like to work with female patients, you might go into obstetrics and gynecologists, or you might want to become a midwife. And therefore, it is when you really engage into the sector and through internships and clinical posting, you'll be able to know your interests and also learn from mistakes as well. And when I say learn from mistakes, it is sometimes very common for us to make mistakes during internships because we are still young and we have a lack of experience. But making mistakes is a way for us to grow and also learn. Step by step, you will be able to reach your goals and be thankful for all the way that you have come through and all the mistakes that you have to encounter and deal with, because that makes you into a more experienced and also a better person. Also, during clinical postings or internships, do not be afraid to ask questions because we are not familiar with how the thing works. Remember that never a question will be a stupid question, and you will improve by staying curious and also asking questions to your seniors or your employers. Also, it is very common for us to doubt our abilities at times. It is always okay to restart again. Do not try to complicate the matters by overthinking. Let's say you think like, what if I can't do well during the internships? What should I tell the employers? What are my ideas? How can I make it better? Should I do this? Should I do that? Will I make mistakes? If you are constantly overthinking, it will pull you back from improving. It will not move you out of the circle of stepping out of your comfort zone. So do not be afraid. Try to ask questions and improve from there. Also, do not be embarrassed as well.